I am Metagross Freak, and today's product was purchased on BigBadToyStore.com. This isn't available in your standard stores currently. Big Bad Toy Store did not sponsor this video, nor did they even know I'm referencing them in this video, but I wanted to thank them for sending me this product because it's awesome. Anyway, today we're taking a look at... Oh yeah, it's a big box. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Masterpiece Soundwave. This is actually the Takara release of Masterpiece Soundwave MP-02. The reason I picked the Takara release is because it actually comes with 5 cassettes, as opposed to the Hasbro release, which actually only includes 1. They were the same price. Also included was a special order piece that, with the order of my part, has, I believe this is the little metal Soundwave box, the mini boom box. We'll open this up. You can see it has a tiny little Transformers box. It actually does say 15 plus on it, which is interesting because the Masterpiece Soundwave is rated 5 plus. I would never let a 5-year-old play with this. Here it is, a mini die-cast Soundwave from G1. It is actually pretty heavy. This is probably a good solid ounce. Cute little, perfectly die-cast Soundwave. I really like it. I don't know if I would I think I would probably display this with my Soundwaves, but it is not as vital to my collection as this big guy. The box is amazing. Look at this massive Decepticon symbol on the side. We've got Soundwave in a cool pose. The cassettes below. On the back, we have, includes 5 converting cassettes. We have Laserbeak, Buzzsaw, Rumble, who here Rumble is red, Frenzy is blue, and Ravage. You can of course store the tape decks inside. It includes an Energon cube as well as his cannon and his pistol. And on the side we have some tech specs. This is actually kind of cool. Awesome. Alright, and then this is actually kind of a little bit of a, I guess, a sheath of some kind. I can slide off this sheath. You see, once again, Masterpiece Soundwave. And on the back we have we have a Decepticon symbol and some, I guess, Cybertronian writing. Interesting. Just like with the Titan's Return Soundwave, his cassette player does open, and you can store his cassettes inside. But also, the rewind button and the fast forward button are spring-loaded, so you can actually press them. You can actually press the buttons. They're not just molded on. That is awesome. You can see he already has his cannon. It is, of course, on a hinge, so it can go up and down. It can rotate. It's phenomenal. You've got Soundwave's head, which is on, technically it's a ball joint, but it's actually just a 360 swivel on top of an up-down swivel, but it acts like a ball joint. He does have a lot of cool stuff, though, ignoring the instructions and ignoring the Soundwave we've already taken a look at. This Soundwave actually weighs about as much, if not a little bit more, than this one, but there's a ton of stuff. He has another grill that can actually attach on. There are essentially kind of fake cards, like displays, that you can just put in to see that show he's displaying something on his chest. He has an Energon cube, which can also just attach on like so to make blocks of Energon. That's kind of neat. He does come with his little wrist scanner, which if you fold up his hand like so, you can attach the scanner on like that, and on the inside, the molding of the inside wrist, I don't know if you can see that, has a little speaker detail, which is awesome. So he can just open up his wrists to use those as weapons as well. That's also a good nod to other Soundwaves as well. And worst case scenario, if you decide you don't want to use a little scanner sonic gun, you can plug it into a little notch on his butt for some safekeeping. You can see it on the bottom already, but he does come with a Megatron gun. You of course can take off the scope if you don't want it. Interestingly, it adjusts, it slides like so. Let me move him out of the way so we can see this better. It does slide out of the way, I think, to help him hold it. So like he can wield Megatron like that one episode of Gen 1. He does have his pistol, which he can hold in a sound-wavy fashion. It does come off, and it just collapses like so, and can store in his back on the other side. So hooray for storage. So before I transform this Soundwave into tape deck mode, I have to compare him, of course, to the closest counterpart I have, Titan's Return Leader Class Soundwave. You can see they go very nicely together. This Soundwave is a little bit bulkier. This Soundwave is a little more perfectly proportioned, and they're roughly the same height. Obviously, his gun is more G1 accurate, and they look really cool together. I'm not really sure which one I would say is my favorite. Here's Soundwave in cassette tape mode, and good gosh, he is gorgeous. I forgot to put the scanner on. You can see I have Laserbeak loaded. I don't want to load more, but you can see just how beautifully detailed he is and how perfectly he folds up. I mean, just look at that. There are panels to cover things. It is gorgeous. Like I said before, the fast forward and play buttons are spring loaded. You can, of course, press the button to open it up, and there's a little lever on the back that you can use to launch the cassette in and out. There we go. So the problem with the launching device is that it goes on this little shelf and then closes, but if it's the only one in there, they get stuck. Meanwhile, if you push the shelving back a ways, you can hold down the trigger to push them forward. So if there's only one, you can have an issue. This is just an absolutely beautiful Soundwave. I'm lazy, don't want to transform my Titan's Return Soundwave, so here is Soundwave compared to an Old Spice deodorant and a Secret deodorant, and compared to a tube of toothpaste, and compared to an icy cup. So yeah, I mean, he's decently sized. I'd say, yeah, I mean, he's about 6 or 7 inches wide. He does have, as well, he has these like little panels where you'd put in like a headphone jack or like a USB. The little switch here doesn't do anything, but you can raise and lower it, which is a nice little detail. Same thing, there's this little wheel on the side that is a little tight, but you can roll it up and down a little bit for, I guess, adjusting volume or something. Again, it doesn't do anything, but it's a nice detail that they didn't have to add. This is the kind of quality we get from a Masterpiece toy. It's so beautiful. I originally planned on having the 5 Decepticon cassettes be their own separate video, but I realized that was more work than I wanted to put in. I didn't want to edit a separate video, so I'm just going to include it in my Masterpiece Soundwave video. You can see here we have the 5 Decepticon cassettes. We have Laserbeak, Buzzsaw, Rumble, Frenzy, and Ravage. I've spread them out this way just so you can kind of see them in a separate look. And then Rumble and Frenzy include these kind of pylon type of things, which are supposed to be their pile drivers. They can extend out, as you can see, for their traditional pile driver technique. They do have a connector that comes off. They can attach onto their robot backs. And then these pieces will attach onto their arms. Now I believe, let's see if I can get this out. The guns in here do come out, but they are essentially connected in here somehow, but they should be able to come out and attach onto the arms if you want to use the guns instead of the pile drivers, and the pile drivers connect in to these little slots here. And what's really cool is these are not the only function. So you have these containers. These can also, like I said before, can become a backpack, like batteries for Rumble and Frenzy. But they have these little pegs on them, so you can actually connect them together to form like a, I guess you could say like a cable of sorts, similar to Soundwave, the one that Soundwave had in Transformers the movie, which is of course the like '87 movie. They can also, using, I believe it's these pegs here, or I think it's either the clip or the pegs, I'm not sure which one, but they can attach, I think it's the clips. They can attach onto Soundwave's wrists, like wrist cannons, and using the little slots on the back, they can plug in to Soundwave's communicator device, the one I showed earlier, the one that like looks kind of like a tiny little hand scanner. They can plug into that. So you have a lot of versatility on this. But just before we get into the actual builds themselves, that is before I transform them, each figure comes in a little case. On the Japanese version, these cases are pink and include kind of more of a, there's some other paperwork in too, but these are pink. But the builds are identically the same. So if you want, you can just open these cases up to store them. Considering how kind of small and fragile they are, I would recommend storing them in here if you end up getting this yourself. In comparison with a 2018 Prime Master, you can see about as big as a Prime Master. Here he is with Activator Laserbeak, who is technically the size of a Legion class, or roughly the size of a Legion class. And you can see about as big there. And then with a Legends class Laserbeak for Titan's Return, you can see much larger. Alright, and here are all 5 cassette robots transformed. To stay with G1, I decided to make Frenzy blue. He has the little battery backpack, as you can see, and he has his little blasters. Meanwhile, Rumble, I decided to make red. He has his little pile drivers and the jetpack. We have, of course, Buzzsaw on the left, Laserbeak on the right, and Ravage here. Ravage is the, well, he looks kind of like a really thin table, but you know what? I'm willing to pass that up. Rumble and Frenzy do kind of have issues balancing. As you can see, Rumble is kind of at an angle, and Frenzy, I had to extend the pile driver so he could essentially sit on there. And that's to help them stay supported, but they're all great. I'd probably say of the 5, the one I like the least is Ravage, and I of course love Laserbeak the most. Here we have them with a Prime Master. You can see about as big as Laserbeak, about as big as Ravage, a little bit shorter than Rumble, and by extension Frenzy, but he also just doesn't have the giant weapons. Here we have the Activator's Laserbeak, who's essentially a Legion class, about as big as Laserbeak, about as big as Ravage, kind of roughly the same size, if not a bit smaller than Rumble or Frenzy without their weapons. And of course, Legends class Titan's Return Laserbeak is bigger than all of them, but about the same size as Rumble. Because, you know, just these massive weapons basically upgrade him from Legion to Legends / Scout class. And this has been Masterpiece Soundwave, or MP-02 Decepticon Masterpiece Soundwave. This is a phenomenal figure. This is, I think, basically going to be the centerpiece of my Transformers collection. That is, until I get Volcanicus fully completed. I'll do a separate video, of course, for him. It's just such a perfect figure. I absolutely love this, and with this, I basically now have every Soundwave, save for basically Gen 1 Soundwave. Thank you all for watching. I hope this was a fun video for you. And until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and have a superior day.